My name is Evelyn. 3 months ago, I made a mistake. I went to my son's house on the wrong day, and that mistake revealed a truth that would destroy his marriage, but save our family. You see, when I walked through that door, I heard sounds coming from upstairs, sounds that made my blood run cold. And what I found in that bedroom changed everything. But before I tell you what I saw, you need to understand what my daughter-in-law had been doing to me for 2 years. I'm 65 years old, and the story I'm about to tell you happened 3 months ago. But it changed everything I thought I knew about my family. It's a story about deception, betrayal, and how the person you think you know best can be a complete stranger. For 2 years, I couldn't understand why my relationship with my son Derek had become so strained. We used to be close, incredibly close. After his father passed away 5 years ago, Derek and I grew even closer. We had dinner together twice a week. He'd call me just to chat. We had that kind of mother-son bond that people write about in greeting cards. Then he married Amber. Now, don't get me wrong. When Derek first introduced me to Amber, I was thrilled. She seemed perfect for him. Sweet, attentive, always smiling. She'd compliment my cooking, ask about my hobbies, and seemed genuinely interested in getting to know me. I remember thinking, finally, a daughter-in-law who wants to be part of the family. But slowly, almost imperceptibly, things began to change. It started with small comments from Derek. "Mom, do you really need a new car? The old one was fine." Or, "Mom, another vacation? Didn't you just go somewhere last year?" At first, I laughed it off. My son was concerned about my finances, which was sweet. But the comments became more frequent, more pointed, more judgmental. "Mom, I saw you bought new furniture. Don't you think that's excessive?" "Mom, Amber mentioned you're redecorating the guest room. Again, seems wasteful." "Mom, you need to start thinking about your retirement funds instead of spending on unnecessary things." I was confused, hurt even. Yes, I had money. My late husband Harold had been an excellent provider, and he'd left me very comfortable. I wasn't rich by any means, but I could afford to enjoy my life. A nice car every few years, a vacation annually, updating my home when I wanted to. These weren't extravagant purchases. They were normal things that brought me joy in my retirement. But Derek made me feel guilty about every single one. The worst part? I had no idea where this was coming from. Derek had never been materialistic or obsessed with money before. He'd always been happy that his father and I had worked hard to secure our future. So why was he suddenly acting like I was some spendthrift throwing money away? I tried talking to him about it. "Derek, honey, I'm careful with money. I'm not being reckless. Why are you so concerned?" His response was always the same. "Mom, I'm just looking out for you. I don't want you to end up struggling later. You need to be more responsible." Responsible. That word stung. I'd raised Derek on my own after Harold died. I'd managed our finances, paid off the mortgage, put money away for emergencies. And now my son was treating me like an irresponsible child. But here's what I didn't know, what I couldn't have known. Amber had been poisoning Derek against me from almost the moment they got married. I only discovered this later, much later, after everything fell apart. But Amber had been systematically planting seeds of doubt about me, little comments here and there, so subtle that Derek probably didn't even realize he was being manipulated. "Derek, your mom looked so elegant today. That must have been an expensive outfit. I hope she's not overdoing it with shopping. I saw your mom's Instagram, honey. Another restaurant? She eats out so much. That's gotta be adding up. Your mom mentioned redecorating. Again? Derek, I'm worried about her. Do you think she might have a spending problem?" Day after day, week after week, month after month, Amber dripped poison into Derek's ear. And the cruel genius of it was that she always framed it as concern. She wasn't being mean or critical. She was just worried about me. She just wanted to make sure I was okay. And the whole time, Amber was the sweetest thing to my face. Every time I saw her, it was hugs and compliments. "Evelyn, you look wonderful. I love your hair." "Evelyn, thank you so much for that recipe you gave me. Derek loved it." "Evelyn, you're such an amazing woman. Derek is so lucky to have you as his mom." I had no idea she was stabbing me in the back the moment I left the room. Meanwhile, Amber herself was living like a queen. Every time I saw her, she had a new designer purse, new shoes, new jewelry. She was always coming back from the mall with shopping bags. Derek would mention casually that they'd just bought new furniture, upgraded their TV, or that Amber had convinced them they needed a more expensive car. But whenever I gently asked Derek about their finances, he'd get defensive. "We're fine, Mom. Amber works hard. She deserves nice things. It's not like you just spending retirement money on frivolous stuff." It hurt. It hurt so much. I felt like I was losing my son to someone I thought was my ally, but I couldn't put my finger on why or how. The breaking point came 3 months ago, on a Tuesday afternoon. I had been planning to visit Derek that weekend, but I'd gotten my days mixed up. I thought our dinner was Tuesday, not Saturday. It was an honest mistake, the kind that happens when you're busy and not as young as you used to be. But it's a mistake that changed everything. I drove to Derek and Amber's house around 2 in the afternoon. Derek had given me a key years ago for emergencies, and I still had it. I figured I'd let myself in, leave a note apologizing for the mix-up, maybe start dinner as a surprise to make up for my mistake. I pulled into their driveway and immediately noticed an unfamiliar car parked there, a sleek black BMW with tinted windows. I didn't think much of it. Maybe they had a guest, or maybe it belonged to one of their neighbors. I used my key and opened the front door quietly, not wanting to startle anyone if they were home. The living room was empty. The TV was off. Everything seemed normal. Then I heard it. A sound that made my blood run cold. Laughter. Female laughter, coming from upstairs. Amber's laughter. But it wasn't the kind of laugh you share with a girlfriend over coffee. It was intimate, flirtatious, the kind that meant something entirely different. And then I heard a male voice, deep, unfamiliar. "Come here, beautiful." My heart stopped. My hand gripped the door handle so hard my knuckles turned white. For a moment I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what I was hearing. Part of me wanted to leave, to pretend I hadn't heard anything, to protect myself from whatever truth was waiting at the top of those stairs. But another part of me, a stronger part, knew I had to see, I had to know. Because if what I suspected was true, then my son was being betrayed in the worst possible way, and he deserved to know. I took my phone out of my purse and turned on the video recording. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. Then, as quietly as I could, I began climbing the stairs. Each step felt like it took an eternity. The laughter continued. I could hear movement now, the creak of bed springs,
whispered words I couldn't quite make out. Their bedroom door was slightly ajar, just enough for me to see inside. And what I saw shattered any remaining hope I had that this was some innocent misunderstanding. Amber was in bed with a man I'd never seen before. They were wrapped around each other, clearly intimate, clearly comfortable with each other in a way that spoke of familiarity. This wasn't a one-time mistake. This was an affair, ongoing and established.
I stood there, frozen, my phone recording everything. I don't know how long I watched, maybe 10 seconds, maybe 30. It felt like hours. The man noticed me first. His eyes met mine over Amber's shoulder and his face went white. "Oh shit," he said, pushing Amber away. Amber turned, and when she saw me standing in the doorway, her expression went through a remarkable transformation: shock, fear, and then almost instantly, cold calculation. "Evelyn," she said, pulling the sheets around herself. Her voice was remarkably steady. "This isn't what it looks like." I couldn't speak. I literally couldn't form words. My throat had closed up completely. The man was scrambling out of bed, grabbing his clothes. "I'm leaving. I'm leaving right now." He looked terrified, like he expected me to attack him. I stepped aside and let him run past me, down the stairs. I heard the front door slam, the sound of a car engine starting, tires squealing as he peeled out of the driveway. And then it was just me and Amber. She stood up, wrapping herself in a silk robe that I noticed was brand new, probably expensive. Even in this moment, even caught red-handed, she looked put together, composed. "Evelyn," she said again, her voice taking on that sweet tone she always used with me. "Please, let me explain. You're misunderstanding what you saw." "Misunderstanding?" I finally found my voice. It came out as a whisper. "You were in bed with another man. In the bed you share with my son? What exactly am I misunderstanding?" Amber's eyes flickered to my phone, still recording in my hand. Her expression hardened slightly. "Put the phone down, Evelyn. Let's talk about this like adults." "Like adults?" I felt anger replacing the shock now, hot and fierce. Adults don't cheat on their spouses. Adults don't betray the people who love them. "You don't understand," Amber said, moving closer to me. "Derek and I, we have problems. He's never home. He doesn't appreciate me. I was lonely, and Brandon, he was there for me. It just happened." "Brandon?" The name felt like poison in my mouth. "You're on first-name basis with the man you're betraying my son with?" "It's not like that," Amber insisted. "It's complicated. Marriage is complicated, Evelyn. You wouldn't understand." I wouldn't understand. I felt my temper rising now. I was married for 35 years. I loved my husband through good times and bad, through sickness and health. That's what marriage is. Not this. Never this. Amber's demeanor shifted again. The sweetness was completely gone now, replaced by something cold and hard. "Okay, fine. You caught me. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to keep your mouth shut about this. You're going to delete that video and you're going to pretend you never saw anything." I stared at her in disbelief. Why on earth would I do that? "Because if you don't," Amber said, her voice like ice, I'll destroy you in Derek's eyes. I'll tell him you've been saying horrible things about me. I'll tell him you came here to snoop through our things because you don't trust me. I'll tell him you're trying to break up our marriage because you're jealous and controlling. He'd never believe that, I said, but even as I spoke, doubt crept in. Would he believe it? He'd been believing her lies about me for 2 years. Amber smiled, a cruel, confident smile. Oh, Evelyn, sweet, naive Evelyn, Derek will believe whatever I tell him. He always does. Why do you think he's been so critical of you lately? So concerned about your spending, so distant? My stomach dropped. What did you do? I opened his eyes, Amber said, simply. I helped him see what you really are. A lonely old woman who can't let go of her son, who spends money recklessly, who needs to be watched and controlled before she wastes away her entire inheritance. The pieces fell into place with sickening clarity. The sudden change in Derek's attitude, the constant criticism about money, the distance between us, it had all been Amber manipulating him, poisoning him against me. Why? I whispered. Why would you do that to me? I welcomed you into our family. I treated you like a daughter. Because you were in the way, Amber said, matter-of-factly. Derek talks to you too much, listens to you too much. I needed him focused on me, on our marriage, on building our life together. And I needed you to seem less credible in case something like this ever happened. In case you got caught cheating, I said flatly. In case our relationship became complicated, Amber corrected. I needed insurance, and now I have it. Derek thinks you're irresponsible and intrusive. If you tell him about this, I'll just say you're lying because you're jealous of our happiness. I'll say you probably manipulated the video somehow. I'll cry and play the victim, and Derek will comfort me and cut you out of his life completely. She said all of this so calmly, so confidently, like she'd planned for this exact scenario. You're a monster, I said. Amber shrugged. I'm a realist. Now, are you going to delete that video, or are we going to have a problem? I looked at her. This woman I'd welcomed into my family, this woman who'd systematically destroyed my relationship with my son while smiling to my face. And I made a decision. No, I said quietly. I'm not deleting anything, and I'm telling Derek everything. Amber's eyes flashed with anger. You'll regret this, Evelyn. I promise you, you'll regret this. The only thing I regret is not seeing who you really were sooner. I turned and walked out of that bedroom, down the stairs, and out of the house. My whole body was shaking. I sat in my car for 10 minutes, just trying to breathe, trying to process what had just happened. Then I drove home, backed up the video to 3 different places: the cloud, my computer, and a USB drive I locked in my safe, and waited for Derek to get home from work. The wait was agonizing. I kept replaying Amber's words in my head. What if she was right? What if Derek didn't believe me? What if he chose her over his own mother? But I had to try. I had to tell him the truth. Even if he hated me for it, Even if he never spoke to me again, I couldn't let him live in ignorance while his wife betrayed him. Derek called me around 6 o'clock. "Mom, Amber said you stopped by the house today and were acting strange. Is everything okay?" My heart sank. She was already starting her counterattack. "Derek, I need to see you. Tonight. It's important." "Mom, I'm tired. Can't it wait until the weekend?" "No," I said firmly. "It can't wait. Please, Derek, come to my house. Right now. It's about Amber." There was a long pause. "What about Amber?" "I can't tell you over the phone. Please just come, and come alone." Another pause. Then, reluctantly, "Okay, I'll be there in 30 minutes." He arrived in 25. I could see the worry on his face as I opened the door, and behind it, a hint of defensiveness. Amber had already gotten to him. "Mom, what's this about? Amber's freaking out. She said you came to the house and looked at her weird and then just left." "Sit down, Derek. Please." He sat on the couch, and I sat across from him in the armchair. I had my phone in my hand, the video queued up, but not playing yet. "Derek, what I'm about to tell you is going to be very difficult to hear, but I need you to listen to me. Really listen. Can you do that?" He looked suspicious now. "Mom, you're scaring me. What's going on?" "Derek, I went to your house this afternoon because I got our dinner plans mixed up. I thought we were meeting today instead of Saturday." "Okay," he said slowly. And when I got there, there was a strange car in the driveway. I let myself in with the key you gave me." Derek's expression darkened. "Mom, you can't just let yourself into our house without permission. That's not okay." "I know, and I'm sorry, but Derek, I heard voices upstairs. I heard Amber with someone, a man." Derek stood up abruptly. "Stop, just stop right there. I know what you're doing, Mom. Amber warned me you might try something like this." "What?" I felt cold all over. "She said you'd been acting jealous and possessive. She said you couldn't handle the fact that I'm married now, that I have a wife who comes first. She said you might try to make up stories about her to break us up." "Derek, I'm not making anything up. I saw her. I saw them together. In your bedroom." "No," Derek said, his voice rising. "No, you didn't, because Amber would never do that. She loves me. She's been nothing but good to me, to us. Meanwhile, you've been spending money left and right, being irresponsible, and now you're making up lies about my wife?" "I have proof," I said, my voice shaking. I held up my phone. "I recorded it, Derek. I have video." Derek's face went white, then red with anger. "You recorded in my house without permission? That's illegal. That's invasion of privacy." "Watch it," I pleaded. "Please just watch the video. Then you can decide what you think." "I don't need to watch any video," Derek said. "This is exactly what Amber said you'd do. She said you'd tried to manipulate me with fake evidence or edited videos or something you took out of context." "Derek, please," I begged. Tears were streaming down my face now. "Please just look at it. That's all I'm asking. Look at the evidence and make your own decision." He stared at me for a long moment, conflict written all over his face. Then, reluctantly, he held out his hand. "Fine, show me this so-called proof." With trembling hands, I pulled up the video and handed him the phone. I watched Derek's face as he watched the video. I watched the confusion, then the disbelief, then the dawning horror as he realized what he was seeing. The color drained from his face. His hands started shaking. The video was only about a minute long, but it felt like we sat there for hours. When it ended, Derek just stared at the screen. He didn't move, didn't speak. "Derek," I said softly. He looked up at me, and I saw that his eyes were filled with tears. That's our bedroom."
That's our bed. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Who is he? Derek's voice was hollow. Who is that man? She called him Brandon. I don't know anything else. Derek's face crumpled. For a moment, he looked like a lost little boy, and it broke my heart all over again. Then something hardened in his expression. He stood up abruptly. I need to go.
Derek, wait. Let's talk about this. Let me help you. I need to go, he repeated, more forcefully. I have to. He couldn't finish the sentence. He just grabbed his keys and walked out, leaving me standing in my living room watching him go. I didn't sleep that night. I kept my phone close, waiting for a call, a text, anything, but there was nothing. The next morning, Derek showed up at my door at 6 a.m. He looked like he hadn't slept either. His eyes were red and swollen. Can I come in? He asked quietly. Of course, sweetheart. Always. We sat at the kitchen table. I made coffee, even though I doubted either of us would drink it. For a long time, we just sat there in silence. Finally, Derek spoke. I confronted her last night, showed her the video. What did she say? At first, she denied it was her, said you must have faked it somehow. Then, when she realized I wasn't buying that, she changed tactics, started crying, saying she was lonely, that I work too much, that I don't appreciate her. She said it was my fault, that I drove her to it. Derek, you know that's not true. Her choices are not your fault. She also said, he paused, taking a shaky breath. She said all those things she told me about you being reckless with money and obsessed with controlling my life. She admitted she made most of it up. She said she needed me to trust her more than you in case something like this happened. The confirmation hurt, even though I'd already known it. Derek, Mom, I'm so sorry. He looked at me with such pain in his eyes. I believed her. I was so awful to you. All those comments about money, all the times I criticized you, made you feel bad about living your life, and you weren't doing anything wrong. You were just being you, and I made you feel guilty for it. She's very manipulative, I said gently. She's good at what she does. That's not an excuse, Derek said firmly. I should have trusted you. You're my mother. You've never given me a reason to doubt you, but I let her get into my head and I turned on you. I'm so ashamed. Derek, you're not the first person to be manipulated by someone they love, and you won't be the last. I asked her to leave, told her to pack her things and go stay with her mother while we figure out next steps. She's calling me nonstop, leaving voicemails about how sorry she is, how it was a mistake, how she'll do anything to fix this. She looked at me. Mom, I don't think I can ever trust her again. Every time she opens her mouth, I'll wonder if she's lying. Every time she's nice, I'll wonder if she's manipulating me. That's no way to live. No, I agreed quietly. It's not. I think I'm going to file for divorce. I reached across the table and took his hand. I'll support you whatever you decide. But Derek, you need to do what's right for you, not what I think is right or what anyone else thinks. This is your marriage, your life. He nodded, squeezing my hand. We sat there for a while longer, just being together, beginning the long process of healing. The divorce was messy. Amber fought it tooth and nail, alternating between begging Derek to take her back and threatening to take him for everything he had. She tried one last time to turn him against me, telling anyone who would listen that I'd orchestrated the whole thing, that I'd somehow set her up with Brandon to break up her marriage. But Derek had finally seen her for who she really was. The spell was broken. The proceedings revealed just how much Amber had been spending.
The designer clothes, the shopping sprees, the expensive dinners with friends, many of which turned out to be dates with Brandon. She'd racked up credit card debt in the tens of thousands, all while making Derek think it was me who was the irresponsible one. Derek found old text messages between Amber and Brandon. The affair had been going on for over a year. There were messages where Amber complained about me, calling me names I won't repeat, strategizing about how to turn Derek against me so I couldn't interfere in their relationship. Reading those messages was painful, but also validating. It confirmed that I hadn't been imagining the change in Derek's behavior. It had all been manufactured, a deliberate campaign to isolate my son from the people who truly loved him. The divorce was finalized 2 months ago. Derek got the house. Amber got to keep her credit card debt. Since then, Derek and I have been rebuilding our relationship. It's not exactly the same as it was before. There are scars on both sides that need time to heal. But we're talking again, having dinner together, slowly finding our way back to each other. Last week, Derek apologized again. "Mom, I know I've said it before, but I'm truly sorry for everything I put you through, for every comment about your spending, for making you feel like you couldn't be yourself, for not trusting you when you tried to tell me the truth." Derek, you don't need to keep apologizing. What matters is that we're here now, together, and we're moving forward. "But I do need to apologize," he insisted. "Because what Amber did to you, to us, that was unforgivable. But I let her do it. I should have questioned things sooner, should have trusted my instincts about you." "You loved her," I said simply. "Love makes us vulnerable, makes us want to believe the best in people even when the evidence says otherwise." "I don't think I'll ever trust anyone that completely again," Derek said sadly. "Don't say that," I told him. "Don't let Amber take away your ability to love and trust. That's letting her win. You'll heal from this. You'll be wiser, more cautious maybe, but you'll love again. And next time, you'll know the warning signs to watch for." He smiled at me, a real smile for the first time in months. "When did you get so wise, Mom?" 65 years of living, sweetheart. You pick up a few things along the way. Looking back on everything that happened, I'm struck by how close I came to losing my son completely. If I'd walked away from that house without recording what I saw, if I'd been too scared to show Derek the truth, Amber might still be manipulating him today. She might have successfully driven a permanent wedge between us. But here's what I learned through all of this. Truth is powerful. It might hurt. It might be messy and uncomfortable and painful to confront. But in the end, truth is the only foundation strong enough to build a real relationship on. I also learned that manipulation can happen to anyone. Derek is smart, successful, loving, and kind, but even he fell victim to Amber's lies. It doesn't make him weak or stupid. It makes him human. And I learned that a mother's love is fierce and enduring. Even when Derek was pushing me away, even when he was criticizing me and making me feel small, I never stopped loving him. I never stopped wanting what was best for him. And that love gave me the courage to tell him a truth I knew would hurt him, because keeping silent would have hurt him more in the long run. My name is Evelyn. I'm 65 years old. 3 months ago, I caught my daughter-in-law cheating on my son. It destroyed a marriage, but it saved a family. If you're in a situation where someone is trying to turn your loved ones against you, if you're watching a relationship change and don't understand why, trust your instincts. Document what you see. Speak your truth even when it's terrifying, because silence and secrets only give manipulators more power. And if you're the person being manipulated, If someone in your life is slowly poisoning you against the people who've always loved you, take a step back. Ask yourself, when did these doubts start? Who planted them? What evidence do I actually have? Sometimes the people closest to us are not who they seem. The truth may hurt, but living a lie hurts more. I need to ask you something, and I want you to be honest with me. Has someone in your family ever changed toward you and you couldn't understand why? Have you watched a son or daughter pull away, becoming cold and critical, and you had no idea what you did wrong? Or worse, have you suspected that someone was poisoning them against you, but you had no proof? Write yes in the comments if this has happened to you. Just that one word. Because I read every single comment, and I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not crazy for sensing something was wrong, and you're not imagining the change in someone you love.
So many of you have written to me saying, "Evelyn, I feel like I'm losing my child to their spouse," or "My daughter doesn't talk to me anymore, and I don't know why." I see you, I hear you, and I'm telling you right now, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Now, I want to share something important with you. If you're watching this video and you related to my story, there are dozens more just like it on this channel. Stories of manipulation, betrayal, family drama, and most importantly, survival and truth. But here's the problem. YouTube only shows my videos to people if enough viewers subscribe and engage. Right now, I'm at just 5 subscribers. 5! That means these stories, these truths that so many of you need to hear, aren't reaching the people who need them most. Your mother, your sister, your friend who's going through something similar, they'll never see this unless we build this community together. So I'm asking you, not begging, but genuinely asking, if my story meant something to you, if it gave you clarity or courage or just made you feel less alone, click that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and share this video with one person, just one, who needs to hear it. Because every woman over 60 who's been dismissed, manipulated, or made to feel crazy for trusting her instincts deserves to know that she's not alone. We deserve to have our voices heard, and together we can create a space where truth matters more than keeping the peace. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for being here. And remember this above all else. You are never too old to trust yourself. You are never too old to speak the truth. And you are never too old to fight for the people you love. Until next time, this is Evelyn, and I'll be here telling the stories that need to be told, whether 5 people are listening or 5 million. Because the truth doesn't need a big audience to matter. It just needs to be spoken.